From the land down under, with the rock at its centre, comes the little Aussie Watchman. Today on TLAW, the roots of Western violent extremism. Violence in the West takes many different forms, but today I'll be concentrating on political violence. It has become abundantly clear over the last 12 months that in this time in history, the left side of politics attracts violent extremists. While I hesitate to use left or right because it means different things to different people, I'm using the term to highlight the attraction violent extremists have with the Democratic Party in the USA and more recently the Labour Party in Australia. In particular, we find all over the Western world that violent protesters that cover themselves with masks are highly likely to have aligned themselves with what would be considered the political left. Just this week, the gay conservative, aka right-wing, Milo Yiannopoulos found himself attacked by violent extremists in masks at a Californian University. Wanton destruction followed by approximately 150 masked agitators. Why the masks? Masks allow criminal behaviour without being identified. Masks are therefore an indication of intent. Did being gay protect Milo against left-aligned violent extremists? It did not, because he supported right-wing style politics and therefore Donald Trump, and therefore was considered fair game by these violent extremists. Throughout the US election campaign, although predominantly peaceful, one could see glimpses of this extremism which permeates the ranks of the Democratic Party. 2 Republican HQs were firebombed. Democratic Party operatives were being paid to create violence and Trump events. Repeated hints and calls to assassinate Donald Trump. The labelling of Trump supporters as racist, sexist and fascists were all part of the offensive stink that has attached itself to the left of politics. If fascism is defined by using violent extremism to push one's political goal, then these violent extremists are fascists and are considered left-wing. If one is to read about fascism on Wikipedia, one finds that at times it has been left-wing and at other times it was considered right-wing. However, I prefer to consider fascism as neither but a type of violent extremism that uses intimidation to coerce its opinion and politics upon others. So just why does violent extremism find a natural attraction to the left wing of politics? This, I believe, is simple. A major plank in the left wing of politics is that Christianity should have no say whatsoever in politics or the running of a country. Thus, true atheists are naturally aligned with the left wing. I say true atheists because there are many who claim they are atheists but still live according to many of the foundations found in Christianity. True atheists believe they are free from the constraints of Christianity, the main one being absolute truth. Without absolute truth, there are no absolute morals. Generally, the right wing finds itself constrained by the foundation of absolute truth and therefore abide, in general, by righteous law. Without the constraints of absolute morals, the violent extremist therefore abides by relative morals. If he or she believes the cause he or she is passionately fighting for, then it is easy to slip into violent rhetoric and then physical violence to force his or her opinion. As an example, compare the March of Women in Washington, D.C. to the March for Life in Washington, D.C. Listen to the rhetoric from both and compare them. It is the speeches of the left-wing march, the March for Women, that spews forth expletives, with Madonna even expressing a wish to bomb the White House. Why is this? It is because their moral compass has been broken. There is no true north, and the ends, therefore, will always justify the means. This, I believe, is the fundamental root of violent extremism. It is at its heart a spiritual matter, and not a political one. The other major plank in the rise of the left-aligned violent extremists is found in the complicit media. The mainstream media, which is run by left-wing elite oligarchs, have used the media to fan the flame of violent extremism. Using a brainwashing propaganda I've never come across before, it has persistently misrepresented and outright lied against the right side of politics. We saw this with Donald Trump, and before him in Australia, Tony Abbott. Continually painted as racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, the media have fostered violent extremism, given it a platform and provided it with an outlet. The mainstream media, just as they supported Hitler initially in the past, also support and validate the masked left-wing agitators that enact violence against their political opponents. Already, the media is saying that Milo Yiannopoulos is the one to blame for the violence. It's his racist, fascist views that have caused the violence, say the complicit mainstream media. The poor little brainwashed 20 to 30-year-olds need an outlet, and they are justified because of the massive evil they are fighting against to perform outright destruction. This is what the media parrots. It is no longer a supporter of democracy and truth, but is a source of sedition and propaganda by the mega-wealthy globalists who want to continue to run Western countries for their own purposes.